In the ancient land of Babylon, during a time of great upheaval and cultural clashes, a remarkable story unfolded that has stood the test of time. It is the story of three young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whose unwavering faith in the one true God would be put to the ultimate test. This captivating narrative, found in the biblical book of Daniel, has inspired countless believers throughout the generations and continues to resonate with those seeking to understand the power of unwavering faith. The events unfold against the backdrop of the Babylonian Empire, a mighty civilization that had conquered the kingdom of Judah and taken many of its people into captivity. Among those captives were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were selected to serve in the king's court. Despite being far from their homeland and facing the pressures of a foreign culture, these three young men remained steadfast in their devotion to the God of their fathers. As the story goes, the Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar, had erected a massive golden statue and demanded that all his subjects bow down and worship it. This was a direct challenge to the monotheistic faith of the Israelites, who recognized only the one true God. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, unwilling to compromise their beliefs, refused to bow down to the idol. This act of defiance did not go unnoticed, and the three young men were promptly summoned before the king. Nebuchadnezzar, enraged by their disobedience, gave them one last chance to comply with his decree. In a powerful moment, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood firm, declaring, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." The king's wrath was ignited, and he ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual. The three young men were then bound and cast into the raging flames. But the story does not end there. As the onlookers watched in awe, they witnessed a miraculous sight, the three men, unharmed, walking freely in the midst of the fire, accompanied by a fourth figure whose appearance was like that of a son of the gods. This remarkable turn of events left Nebuchadnezzar stunned and humbled. He commanded the men to come out of the furnace, and to the astonishment of all, they emerged unscathed, without even the smell of smoke on their clothing. Nebuchadnezzar was compelled to acknowledge the power of the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, declaring, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants." They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. This captivating narrative from the book of Daniel has captured the imagination of believers and non-believers alike for centuries. It is a testament to the unwavering faith and courage of these three young men, who were willing to risk everything to remain true to their beliefs. But what can we learn from this timeless story, and how can it inspire us in our own lives? One of the most striking aspects of this narrative is the unwavering faith displayed by Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Despite facing the threat of a fiery death, they remained steadfast in their belief that God would deliver them. Their confidence in the power and faithfulness of their God was unshakable, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. This level of faith is a challenge for many of us in the modern world, where we are often quick to compromise our beliefs or waver in our commitment to God. We may find ourselves tempted to conform to the prevailing cultural norms, to take the path of least resistance, or to put our trust in our own abilities rather than in the sovereign power of the Almighty. But the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego reminds us that true faith is not about convenience or personal gain, it is about an unwavering trust in God, even when the consequences seem dire. Another key lesson from this narrative is the importance of standing firm in the face of opposition. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego knew that their decision to disobey the king's command would likely result in their execution, yet they refused to compromise their beliefs. They were willing to face the flames of the furnace rather than bow down to a false idol. This kind of courageous stand is a powerful example for us today, as we navigate a world that often seeks to undermine our faith and pressure us to conform to its standards. In a society that increasingly values tolerance and relativism, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego reminds us that there are times when we must be willing to take a stand for what we believe, even if it means facing the consequences. It is a call to be bold, to be uncompromising in our devotion to God, and to be willing to risk everything for the sake of our faith. But the story of these three young men also reveals something about the nature of God and his relationship with his people. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were cast into the fiery furnace, they were not alone. The scriptures tell us that a fourth figure, described as a son of the gods, was present with them in the flames. This is a powerful image of God's faithfulness and his unwavering presence with his people, even in the midst of the most trying circumstances. The story reminds us that God is not a distant, aloof deity who abandons us in our times of greatest need. Rather, he is a loving, compassionate, and powerful God who walks with us through the fires of life, protecting and sustaining us even when the odds seem stacked against us. It is a reminder that no matter how dire our circumstances may be, we can always find comfort and strength in the knowledge that God is with us, guiding and supporting us every step of the way. Furthermore, the narrative of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego reveals something about the nature of God's deliverance. While the three young men were ultimately spared from the flames, the text makes it clear that even if God had chosen not to deliver them, they would have remained faithful. Their unwavering trust in God was not contingent on their own safety or well-being, but on the character and promises of the Almighty. This is a powerful lesson for us, as we often find ourselves tempted to bargain with God, or to make our faith contingent on the outcomes we desire. We may be quick to question God's goodness or his power when things do not go according to our plans. But the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego reminds us that true faith is not about getting what we want, it is about trusting in God's sovereign will, even when it does not align with our own. Ultimately, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is a powerful reminder of the transformative power of faith. Through their unwavering commitment to God, these three young men were able to not only withstand the fiery furnace but also to bear witness to the power and glory of the one true God. Their actions and the miraculous deliverance they experienced had a profound impact on the king and the entire Babylonian kingdom, leading to a greater understanding and acknowledgement of the God they served. In a similar way, our own lives can be a testimony to the transformative power of faith. When we choose to stand firm in our beliefs, even in the face of opposition or adversity, we have the opportunity to demonstrate the reality of God's love, power, and faithfulness to those around us. Our unwavering faith can be a light in the darkness, inspiring others to seek the same source of strength and hope that we have found in our relationship with the Almighty. As we reflect on the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, let us be challenged and encouraged to cultivate a faith that is unshakable, even in the midst of the fiery trials of life. Let us be bold in our witness, courageous in our stand, and ever trusting in the God who is with us, even in the darkest of circumstances. For it is through our unwavering faith that we can not only find the strength to endure, but also the power to transform the world around us, one life at a time.